We often start with the classic image of the early Roman legionary, the heavy infantryman whose disciplined, interlocking lines conquered the Mediterranean. That soldier relied on a specific set of heavy tools. He carried a pair of weighted javelins to disrupt enemy formations before closing the distance with the gladius, a short sword designed for the tight confines of a shield wall. These weapons were highly effective, but they required a slow, forward-marching momentum. The system was built for set-piece battles against large, organized armies that fought in a similar heavy style. This specialization made the legions incredibly powerful in a head-on clash, but it left them tactically rigid. As Rome's enemies changed, the old way of fighting began to struggle. By the 3rd and 4th centuries, Rome was defending thousands of miles of border territory. These frontiers were no longer stable lines. They were porous stones facing constant pressure. The legions were now facing fast-moving raiding parties, nomadic horsemen, and mobile infantry warbands. These enemies didn't always wait for a formal, heavy encounter. They struck quickly and vanished. Heavy javelins were too cumbersome for this kind of mobile warfare, and the Empire didn't have the time or the space to retrain every infantryman as a specialist archer. The military faced a tactical vacuum. They needed a way for their standard, shield-bearing infantry to project sudden missile fire without losing the protection of their formation. This need for a defensive-offensive hybrid forced the Roman military to find a practical middle ground, a tool that could deliver a first strike without slowing the march. The result was the Plumbata, a compact, weighted throwing dart that became a staple of the late imperial army. It was built around 3 simple components: a sharp iron head, a short wooden shaft, and stabilizing fins at the rear to ensure it flew point first. Its defining feature was the plumbum, a lead weight fixed directly behind the head. This weight acted as a force multiplier. Because the center of gravity was so far forward, the lead pulled the nose down in flight, allowing the dart to strike with much more kinetic energy than its small size suggests. At short range, the Plumbata could puncture light armor or embed itself deeply into a shield. The heavy lead weight then acted as a lever, dragging the shield down and forcing the enemy to expose their head or shoulders. By utilizing this lead weight, the Romans managed to deliver the punch of a full-sized spear in a fraction of the physical footprint. The Plumbata's real advantage, however, was not just how it hit, but how it was carried into battle. The military writer Vegetius describes how soldiers would clip up to 5 of these darts into the hollow of their shields. This converted the shield into a portable missile rack. A soldier could march and defend himself and have 5 rounds of ammunition ready for immediate use without needing an extra carrying case. In combat, a unit would wait until the enemy entered range and then launch a coordinated volley. Seconds before contact, thousands of weighted darts would rain down on the attackers. The sudden volume of fire forced enemies to flinch or raise their shields, breaking their momentum and creating gaps in their line just as the Roman infantry braced for the charge. This timing was the Plumbata's true strength. It allowed the infantry to strike first and disrupt the attack without ever having to lower their primary defense. The historical descriptions of these darts are not just military theory. They are reinforced by the physical evidence found at Roman sites. Excavations of late Roman frontier forts show that these weapons were standard equipment for the troops stationed on the empire's edges. While the wood and fletching have long since rotted away, the dirt is filled with the iron points and the heavy lead sleeves that gave the weapon its name. The Plumbata is often overlooked because it doesn't fit the earlier, more famous image of the Roman legionary, but it was a critical tool for the army that followed. There is a common assumption that moving away from the heavy pilum and gladius meant the Roman military was in decline. The Plumbata suggests the opposite. It shows a military still capable of practical engineering, finding a way